Ronjon, it's a pleasure to welcome you. A very pivotal point in human history. When I look back maybe thousands of years ago, we were told that human beings lived for hundreds of years. Then we came to a point where human beings started living for about 50, 55, and that's pretty much it. But now we see some populations in some geographies where people live up to 100. Japan is a great example. Norwegian countries are another good example. And even here in the US, there are some people who live 80, 85, pretty healthy, but not so much in Asia, and not especially in India. So with the advance of science, with the advance of economic successes of individuals and families, now people are looking at, how do we try and increase the longevity of life so we can enjoy more years. Whether you rightly contribute back to Earth or not, I don't know, but they want to live for longer. And you are part of the group that are looking molecularly to see how we can increase the lifespan. So I just wanted a landscape to understand what is happening.
Yes, so the average age of death in America for an American male is 76. Now the key word is average. That includes the babies and car accidents. So, if you've got towards that, you've got longer. The oldest living person has been 122. The oldest current living person is 118. It seems to triangulate round about 120 or so is the maximum possible. Most people don't get there. They're called supercentenarians after about age 100. And there's a couple of theories of aging. One is that we're like cars and bits wear out and fall off and you just replace those bits. That's traditional biotech. Let's fix on one disease. Another theory might be, is there anything we can actually find that fixes everything all at once? There's several theories where that might be the case. Mitochondria is one area. These are the energy packs of our cells, and the integrity seems to decline as we age. Can we reboost them? I'm involved with a project with a company called Matrix Bio. It's trying to take your mitochondria, figure out the good ones, and regrow new ones and give them back to you. The other concept is that we've taken the low-hanging fruit, refrigeration, hygiene, sewage systems. We've been able to do that, and so the question is, we've done most of the low-hanging fruit. Can we actually get more than that? And that might mean a treatment, what I call a vaccine for aging. What does a vaccine actually mean? A vaccine might say, this stops aging. You take it, you are the current age that you are. The next level might be reversing aging, where you can actually decrease your biological age. But most of us say, well, I don't want to be the teenager, the fickle teenager I was when I was a teenager. I want to keep my own mind right now and my own wisdom. I'm quite happy with that, but I'd like to move around better, and I'd like to not take longer. And can I actually break that 100 point? Can I break that 120 point? Is there a fundamental methodology to get to 150? And you have this concept known as escape velocity. If you want to live forever, you don't actually have to solve the solution for living it forever. You just have to solve the solution for living another 20 years. And then within those 20 years, you hope there'll be another solution to get another 20 years. And within those 20 years, another solution to get another 20 years. And so it goes on. I'll stop there. Have we got some questions or comments?
Yeah, so I was thinking, one is at the molecular level, at the science level. The other is you're born with certain attributes, the eating habits, geography, social circles. All these factors influence the lifespan also.
Yeah.
So, fixing this thing at the science level is important, but then there are so many other elements. So it should be a wholesome game.
This is a very good point. So it used to be thought that genetics And often people say, well, my parents didn't live long, so I'm toast. Or my parents did live long, and I'm fine. It used to be thought it's like 80%. It's all in your genes. You know, your doctor used to tell you the best thing to live longer is have good parents. Parents who happen to live longer. It used to be people thought that was an 80% effect. These days people think, the studies vary, but between 5 and 30, maybe 16% is what the average number is, your genetics. So there is every hope that you can actually change your lifestyle, change your diet, do exercise, be in a good environment, and some of these what they call blue zones, where people have a reasonable diet, and they're not doing marathons, but they're doing some exercise, they're being social, they're getting good sleep, they're getting to this higher 100 level. What I'm interested in, I think with good behavior you can get to those levels. What I'm interested in is, can you get to more than 120? Can you get to 150? And there you do actually have to go to the molecular level. There's a concept known as epigenetic programming, which is where we have DNA. What's amazing about DNA is the same in every cell, whether it's a stomach cell or an eye cell, but the way the DNA is expressed is different. And it turns out there's epigenetic means stuff around the DNA. Those factors can actually change a cell from its cell's age to a zero age. There's something called the Yamanaka factors. Yamanaka got the Nobel Prize in 2012. That if we just change 4 factors, we can actually turn it from its current age to zero, a so-called stem cell. So there's a few ideas, a few things, the dynamics that are going on in the science area for this subject.
So let me finally try to hit the nail on the head. Are these all still theories, or there is actually work that's been happening, and how far are we? Because that's the question people would want to know.
Yeah, so these are all just beginning to enter trials. What they call that, they're at the preclinical stage. What does that mean? There's several stages. There's one in a test tube, one in mice. We seem to have figured out how to increase the age of mice. The problem is we're not mice. We're many times bigger. Our brain is many times more complex. And so you don't know whether these things that work in mice will work for us. In general, it takes 15 to 20 years for something to go from the mice stage to the final stage where you can get it in mainstream, where your doctor's prescribing for it. And even when it takes 20 years, it also costs $1 billion. And even though it costs 20 years and $1 billion, it only 5% of the projects actually work. So the stats are against us. What I'm trying to do is trying to speed that up. How can we speed it up? We can speed it up with artificial intelligence to get a higher probability of things working. Okay, the higher probability, we've still got that 20 years. How can we get that 20 years lower? We're trying to say, well, can we use existing things that are already out there? The existing drugs, it could be existing supplements that are already out there, we can just use, but in different combinations to make that. But we have to do the computational analysis to figure out what's out there.
On that hopeful note, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you. And science is great, and at the molecular level, it'll be awesome. Thank you for doing the work you do. Appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.